Did you ever hear about the Swiftologist who lives in Delusion? Nice to meet you. I am him. He is me. Today, we are going to be ranking every single track from the Tortured Poets department. The track titles and track lengths are now completely available for all of us to speculate. And let me tell you, when I saw those track lengths, it changed my mind about a couple of these songs. I knew I had held off on ranking for a good reason. So today, I'm going to be ranking these songs based off of basically their name, their track length, and my delusions, my vibrations that I receive through the Tay Voodoo that comes through the telephone and whispers to me every night before I go to sleep. I will be talking to you, communicating, if you will. I'm a Ouija board. You're sitting here, you're playing around to see what I can come up with from the other side. And that's what I'm doing for you today. And as an added bonus to make it a little bit more interesting, I have created a playlist with a track for each track on Tortured Poets. So there are 17 existing Taylor Swift songs. And I'm going to walk you through why I think the vibe of that song corresponds to what the vibe of the Tortured Poets department track will be. If that sounds confusing, don't worry. I'm going to make it very clear to you as you go along. If you're new to my channel, my name is Zach. I'm the Swiftologist, and I make thoughtful weekly videos about pop culture, but right now I'm in full Swiftie mode. I am a Swiftie, hear me roar. I'm hand-hearting until the day that I die, and you know what? The day I die might be next week. Might be next week. We are T-minus 5 days away from Tortured Poets, and this album is her third longest one, I believe, after Speak Now and Red, which is deeply concerning in a good way, but I am more in shambles than I expected to be at this point. And I also just want to remind everyone that watches my channel, if you see any leaks or any rumors, I don't want to see them. Don't send them my way. It's a surefire way to get blocked. I will remember you. I want to go into this completely unspoiled. So just keep that in mind when we are discussing these songs in the comments down below. And also, don't forget to go and join my Patreon, patreon.com/Swiftologist. You need to be engaged with the evolution of the snake because we are going to be pumping out content like you wouldn't believe. You think it's going to be a lot on Swiftologist? We're going to have even more over there. And we just sold out our very first live show in London. I'm so excited. I can't believe it. We cannot wait to perform for you guys. And we also may be able to add some additional tickets sometime in the near future. I'm going back and forth with the venue about this now, but we shall see. So if you want to be informed on everything to do with tickets, just go and join our Patreon or follow us on Instagram and we will update you there. And next week, I actually have a surprise midweek video coming for you on Wednesday. And it's going to be a recap of Taylor Swift's Hot Girl Summer. You can imagine who I'm going to be speaking about, and you know, I'm ready to get cooking. All right, these are the categories that we're working with today. Holy Ground Sister, aka a song so good she gets to be related to the ultimate HBIC, the diva in charge of all the other divas, which is Holy Ground. Taylor Swift's best song, We've Been New. Soon to be dethroned, who knows? Probably not, but I'm leaving it open for interpretation. Brava, brava, brava. Those are going to be my incredible, iconic, show-stopping, never-been-done-before songs that don't quite reach that upper tier, but are still, you know, up there with the excellent things in this world. Then I have Well, Yes. Well, yes, that's a song that is good. It is good. It's not remarkable. It's not excellente. Then we have Great Gown. And with Great Gown, I'm starting to side-eye a little bit. There might be a lyric that I love, but there could be a production choice that I don't agree with. No Thanks is Get It Off My Desk, and Delete is Get It Out of My House. So that's basically the categories that we are working with today. Why don't we start with Fortnite? I was unable to form a coherent thought about Fortnite in my video on the track list because I read it wrong. I didn't have my contacts in. I thought that this song was called Footnote, and it's actually not called Footnote. I was initially very concerned about a Post Malone feature. I'm not really familiar with the musical stylings of this man, but I liked his feature on the Beyonce song. So I'm more open to being open to him, but just personally, I don't like Taylor Swift featuring anyone. I just want Taylor Swift by herself. Why do we need to go and break something that doesn't need breaking? We don't need to fix a formula that works, which is Taylor Swift in my eardrum start to finish all the time. But, however, I think that Fortnite is going to be a huge vibe check for the record. I think she definitely tried to do this with Lavender Haze to mixed effect, some might say. I mean, it was a confusing song, confusing record, so I guess she succeeded there, not in the way she intended. But Fortnite, to me, I think it's going to be about, I'm wondering if it's about the period of time between when she last saw Joe and started the Eras Tour, or when she started the Eras Tour and they broke up. There are a couple of different Fortnite periods that I can see us starting off at, and I do think we're gonna begin at the very freshness of the breakup. Just the way that I'm looking at this track list, it seems really chronological to me, and that's putting too much faith in Taylor Swift because one thing she's not great at is designing a track list, but I have some faith, and I think that Fortnite is going to be good. I think it's going to be a single. It sounds like it's probably going to be a radio hit. I mean, why else is Post Malone on it? I mean, we're not getting him in for his writing abilities, are we? I don't think so. I don't think so. So Fortnite is going to go into, well, yes, for me. I think it's going to be catchy. I think it's going to be a single. I think it's going to be fun. Am I going to like it? I don't know. Now, in terms of the vibe, like what I've created and put on my playlist for my Tortured Poets vibe check, the song that I think this is going to be most similar to in effect is Now That We Don't Talk. So it's about a breakup that is fairly recent, but still is final and is not really going to go back on its word. It's definitely over for sure. And now we are, picking up the pieces and trying to wonder, like, how do I become a normal person again after this breakup? What am I supposed to do with myself now that my reason for existing is gone? And, Taylor and Joe have been together longer than any of her other relationships before. So his absence must have felt very big. And, Fortnite, I think, is going to cover a bit of that initial shock, the emotional terrain of it all, and kind of wanting it back a little bit, but deep down knowing that it's over. Also, Fortnite is 3 minutes and 48 seconds long. I'm so happy that most of these tracks are crashing in at over 3 minutes because, Midnights, we had too many songs that were sub 3 minutes. We had too many songs that were around that area. We need to be writing. We need the space to be getting the quill and setting out the parchment paper and dipping in the ink. And that's exactly what's going on here, because the next song is Tortured Poets Department, the title track. I'm always here for a title track moment. Some of my favorite Taylor Swift songs are title tracks. Red, heard of it, comes back to me in burning red. Fearless, great song, beautiful song. Even Lover, some might say a great song, not I, but some. Tortured Poets Department. It's 4 minutes and 53 seconds, which at first shattered the illusion that I had. And the illusion that I had was, obviously, I think that this is going to be a reference to the Tortured Man's Club group chat that Joe Alwyn has with other tortured actors. And I think it is still going to be that. But the fact that it's so long makes me think that it could be either a complete and total takedown screed, or it could be something really sad. It could be something about how Taylor is finding community in, the people around her that are also kind of going through it or having a bad time, and helping her create and process what she's experiencing. So I think it can go one of two ways. I'm leaning more into the satirical sense. And because of that, I'm putting the Tortured Poets Department in Brava, Brava, Brava. I think it's going to be great. Something about the title is just, and the theming of the record has not fully clicked for me yet. It will when I hear it, obviously. But for now, I'm not side-eyeing, but I'm keeping an eye out for Selena, as we all should do. You never know when she's going to arrive. But because it's 5 minutes long, the song that I have likened this to on my Vibe Check playlist is I Bet You Think About Me. Because I Bet You Think About Me is a total and complete vindictive takedown. And I think that is long overdue for this heirloom turkey. This turkey. And by the way, all the Joe defenders can really GTFO my channel. I got a comment being like, "You're only seeing Taylor's sides. Why don't you see both sides?" Am I the both sides-ologist? Does my channel say both sides-ologist? Does my channel say Joe sympathizer-ologist? No. I'm the Swiftologist, and I've been a Swiftie longer than you've had a fingernail for. So leave me alone and let me practice my culture. My culture is not your costume. If you don't get it, don't pretend to be a Swiftie. Go be a Joe stan. I mean, you can't because there's nothing to stan, as we've been through, but I just want to throw that out there. I'm not entertaining this nonsense anymore. If you don't like me ragging on Joe, well, I don't know what you expected. It seems like a lot of people expect me to be, very objective about Taylor all the time. I said thoughtful pop culture. I didn't say objective pop culture. You can go back through all my videos, 2021, 2020, 2022. I'm trashing her exes left, right, and center. That's just the way I am. I haven't changed. You just read me wrong. Anyway, sorry for that diatribe. But I Bet You Think About Me, I think, is going to be the closest thing vibe-wise to this, just because of its detail and its scope. And its length. It's also a long song. Up next is My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. I am so excited to hear this song. I'm putting it in Holy Ground Sister, and correspondingly, I've given it a Holy Ground Cousin as the vibe check match that I put on my playlist, which is Forever and Always. I think that this is angry. I think she's pissed. This sounds like she is mad at someone for doing something stupid, for taking advantage or taking for granted her love. And, someone who just can't get out of their own way. Would it be insensitive for me to say, get your shit together so I can love you? I mean, maybe so. Maybe so. I can't do this whole video talking in Taylor lyrics. Something's happened to me where someone has recoded my brain and rewired it where I can only speak in Taylor Swift lyrics at the moment. Very much seen in the last video of our podcast, but you know what? I'm gonna rock harder than anyone alive regardless. Down Bad. Now, Down Bad and I have gone on a huge relationship. It's not even out yet. So I was super gagged when I found out that Down Bad was 4 minutes and 21 seconds long. That's actually very long. It is one of the longer songs on the record, and I thought that it was going to be kind of like a kiss off or something a bit sardonic and satirical, but I think that this is going to be sad. I think this is going to be sad. The first song that I wanted to pair it with on my Vibe playlist was Tolerate It, but it didn't quite work. It didn't quite work because that is the ultimate gut punch of a track 5. And Down Bad is simply not a track 5. It is interesting, though, to consider the songs that surround the track 5s. Those are often like more interesting and add more context to the story based on like how Taylor has sandwiched the track 5. It's always interesting to examine like the bookends of it. So I think that we need to be paying a lot of attention to Down Bad and But Daddy I Love Him, which both strike me as sadder songs than So Long London. I can't explain to you why. Again, I told you it's the delusion. I told you it's the voices in my head. And that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. So Down Bad, I'm going to put in Holy Ground Sister. I'm suddenly extremely interested in her. Like, I need to know what's going on. That's how I feel about all these songs. And the corresponding song that I have for that is You're Losing Me, right? My heart won't start anymore for you. I'm Down Bad. But also, Down Bad could mean that she is so afflicted with love that she can't bring herself to break up with someone. But it's immediately followed by So Long London, which we know is the pack my bags, left Cornelia Street. And speaking of, why don't we just throw this up there? I'm putting this into Holy Ground Sister. A track 5 always gets the benefit of the doubt from me until I hear it. I mean, I'm just going to assume it's the greatest song I've ever heard. The success rate is pretty damn high. So Long London is for sure, I think, going to be a highlight from this record. And the corresponding vibe that I have for this is actually Cornelia Street. There's something about So Long London that is interesting to me in that when we think about the cities that have been mentioned in Taylor Swift's work, I mean, there's a lot of New York, and I think that New York is a real central character in their story, Joe and Taylor's story, but I think the character that it plays is on Taylor's side. Like, New York is her town. That's where she met Joe and showed him around, and they fell in love. But shortly after, they uprooted their entire lives and moved to London, and Taylor really has not spoken at length or written about as diaristically London as she has New York in that early phase of their relationship. So I'm very curious to hear what her relationship is to London now. She's always loved it and had an affinity for it, but I imagine that now it's kind of marked with a sadness. And So Long London doesn't seem very angry or desperate. It seems very kind of like, I've made my peace and I'm going to try and go with grace. That is what the vibe that I get from it, which is why I paired it with Cornelia Street. I think there are going to be a lot of parallels between those two songs. And, you know, she always knows what she's doing, putting a track 5 in the track 5 position. So I'm just going to trust her judgment on that and pray, hope, and wish for the best. And this song is also only 1 second longer than Down Bad. So I don't know. Up next, what we should really, really be watching our backs for. The girl that's going to come and murder you in the middle of the night. But Daddy, I Love Him. Holy Ground Sister. Holy Ground Sister. This is going to be an unhinged monologue. It is going to be one of the most shocking things you've ever heard in your entire life, and it's going to make everything make sense. I feel like this song is going to be an encapsulation of the entire Tortured Poets department. You don't need to get your books. You don't need to go to the bookstore and get your merch. You need to just show up at the But Daddy I Love Him party, and you will know everything you need to know. You don't need to pad your schedule with any other extracurriculars from the Tortured Poets. Just listen to this song and you will get the vibe. I know it. This is an extremely long song. It's 5 minutes and 40 seconds long. I can't remember the last time we had a Taylor Swift song that was that long. I'm thinking Happiness, I don't know why, is striking me as a song that was particularly long in a recent era, but to have a breakup song of this length is something that we haven't experienced since All Too Well and Better Man, since Red. And a lot of people are not understanding what it means to experience a Taylor Swift breakup album, which is why the Joe widows are having mental breakdowns and delusional episodes. Not this kind of delusional episode, not a fun one, a crazy one that gets inflicted on me in my comment section. They don't get it anymore. But, you know, if you listen to But Daddy I Love Him and you don't come away from it saying, this is the greatest song I've ever heard in my entire life, you're not a Swiftie. Watch me hate the song. Who knows? I corresponded this on my Vibe playlist with Better Man. It's giving that. It's giving, I know that there is nothing left to fight for, and it makes absolutely no sense for me to stay in a relationship with this person, but I also know that I love him. And Daddy, I need you to tell me not to, but I also need to push up against you and say, I can't, leave me alone. I was going to put Ours or Love Story because those have more direct references to her father, but I don't know, Better Man is kind of giving Joe could have been the one, but he wasn't. Because he won't do, say, or risk something. And that's on period. That really is on period. Up next, fresh out the slammer. Oh, girl. Oh, girl. I am literally getting so excited, sitting here salivating, dreaming about what treasures these songs are going to be. To me, Fresh Out the Slammer is like a dog shaking its fur. Like, I gotta get this damp off of me. I hated having that bath, and now I need to run around and roll in the mud and get dirty again. That is the vibe of this song. Fresh Out the Slammer. I mean, talk about feeling cooped up and locked up for a number of years. She mentioned that in her Time magazine profile. So I think this is going to be about liberation, but not in a good way. I think it's going to be about the contrasting extreme of being locked up for a long time. It's going to be like, oh my God, I'm out of jail. Like, I have to do everything now. I have to do it all. And sometimes doing it all means that you have a Maddie Healy interlude. And I don't like that. But I think that the next couple of songs really are the Maddie Healy interlude. There are 3 songs that really scream to me as being about that, and it's Fresh Out the Slammer, Florida, and Guilty as Sin. So Fresh Out the Slammer, I think, is going to slap harder than Anything Alive. I'm putting it in Holy Ground Sister. On my Vibe Check playlist, I compared Fresh Out the Slammer to We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together because she's pissed. She's pissed. She's done. She's over it. It has come to an end. She has so long Londoned. She has But Daddy, I Loved Him. And now it's time to be Fresh Out the Slammer. Now it's time to say, you go talk to your friends and my friends and me, but we are never, ever getting back together, period. And I know that I'm right. That one I feel very confident about. Watch me be wrong. Up next, we have another diva, another legend, maybe, perhaps. It's Florida. Florida, featuring Florence and the Machine. I'm not a huge Florence head, to be honest. I'm not. But I'm thinking about where this song is placed. It has the exclamation points, which is weird, but also fun. I don't know. That could be fun. Between Fresh Out the Slammer and Guilty as Sin, I have likened this song to Cruel Summer because I think that this is about that period of time, the interlude that we just talked about, where she really had no idea what was going on. She was trying to get up on stage every night and say, my life makes sense, but no, you're just fresh out the slammer. It doesn't make sense. You're just free. You are just free. And what happens when you're free? You have an incredible time, but it's also the worst time of your life. Do you see what I mean? Like, I Love You, Ain't That the Worst Thing You Ever Heard, Florida. I'm going to be putting it in Brava, Brava. Wow, the Holy Ground Sister category is stacked. Can't wait to revisit this one. It's done. Guilty as Sin. Guilty as Sin. The question mark really throws me off. Also, by the way, Fresh Out the Slammer and Florida are shorter track lengths. So they're like 3-ish minutes, 3.5 minutes. So I think they're going to be fun up-tempo bangers, which is why I likened them to up-tempo bangers. But Guilty as Sin is a little bit longer. This is a 4-minute song, 4 minutes and 14 seconds to be precise. Guilty as Sin, question mark. Did I do anything wrong? Is it really my fault that I behaved this way when you pushed me to my limit, when you brought me to the extreme and you refused to help me out? There is something maybe a little bit sexy about this song. Guilty as Sin, who me? So I have likened this to So It Goes. And I'm going to put this in Brava, Brava. I want to put it in Holy Ground Sister, but I need to be more strict with myself. What's wrong with me? Up next is Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. This song is Mental Illness. It is extremely long. Is it the second longest song on the record after But Daddy, I Love Him? I think so. I thought that this was going to be like a clapback, like a banger, like a bop, like a kiss off, but I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's what it is. Could this be a reckoning with her fame? Could this be contending with her newfound cultural dominance and power? I mean, more than ever before. Is this about maybe feeling a little pessimistic about finding another person that would be even willing to entertain a scenario of dating her like this, given all the kerfuffle that's going on, the maximized public attention? I also think that it could be about all the different ways that men have been afraid of her in general. So I do wonder, like, if there's going to be a Scott Scooter moment, clapback, anger, period. And I think if there was, it would probably be on this song. Now, this song has always been my number one. My number one, my only one. You have beaten my heart. And the song that I have likened it to on my playlist is Dear John, another long song that was full of devastating, searing blows, which is what I think is exactly what we're going to experience on Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Up next is I Can Fix Him. No, really, I can. And I think that my initial clock of this was right. I think this is going to be funny. I think it's going to be tongue-in-cheek. It is the shortest song on the record, 2 minutes and 36 seconds. That's not long enough. For me, if it's shorter than 2 minutes and 54 seconds specifically, it's too short. So I don't know how I feel about this being this short, but I think it's going to be funny, and I know I'm going to wish that it was longer. Come on, Taylor Swift, we need to just be adding an extra chorus. That's all we need to be doing to just, make it all worthwhile. On my Vibes playlist, I compared this to Style, because Style, and I'm putting this in Holy Ground Sister, Style is kind of a delusional song. It's basically being like, you know what? I know that you're kind of a bad guy, but I also am kind of a bad girl. And so I'm just going to rock. I'm just going to rock. I'm going to let you rock. And we're going to try and force this to work. We're drawn to each other. We're magnets. No matter what we do, we just never go out of style. So I think that that is probably going to be also another single from the record. It's just striking me as it's a single and a banger, and I'm excited to hear it. Up next is Love of My Life, or LOML. We don't know what that stands for. A lot of people are saying it might be Love or My Life, which I think is an interesting concept and also certainly aligns with what we know to be, true about the Jover lore, him not appreciating her, him expecting her to give up certain parts of her life in order to be in love with him. This could be interesting. It threw me off because it's long, 4 minutes and 37 seconds. I thought this was going to be kind of a nothing song, to be honest with you. I thought this was going to be kind of like a Stay, Stay, Stay or a Starlight or a Labyrinth, something that was just inconsequential, but I'm having a feeling that it's going to be a little bit more than that. For some reason, I'm getting introspective. I'm getting ruminating and reflecting and being upset. And so I have likened this to The Archer, actually. And I think it might have a similar production vibe. This one is giving me least live instrument production of all these songs. It's giving synth. I don't know why, it just is. So I'm going to put this in Great Gown. I'm not too excited for this. I don't really like the title. I can't tell what it is. It's scary to me. I'm afraid of the unknown. So we're just not getting that. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. This was one of the titles that I saw and immediately was like, this is a quintessential Taylor title. Let me take a second and tell you which ones those were for me. But Daddy, I Love Him. I Can Fix Him. No, Really, I Can. I Could Do It With a Broken Heart. And My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. Those songs really leapt out at me as Taylor Swift songs. And that's why they're in Holy Ground Sister. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is not short, but also not long. It's 3 minutes and 38 seconds, I want to say. Don't have my contacts in, so I don't know. But I think that I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is going to be something sad fun. It's going to be like a crying on the dance floor kind of moment. We Can't Be Friends, Dancing on My Own, those kinds of uplifting but also deeply depressing numbers. The song that I have corresponded this with, though, on my Vibe Check playlist is New Romantics. Because, we cry tears with mascara in the bathroom. Honey, Life is Just a Classroom. And that song, even though it sounds so jubilant and joyful, is about like rising above feeling attacked. I could build a castle out of all the bricks they threw at me, period. And I think that that is what this is going to be about. It's going to be about, entering into a new phase of her career, throwing herself into work, which is something that I think that she does when the personal life isn't going well. We just hone in on work and we make that everything. And I think that's what the song is going to be about. The smallest man who ever lived. The heirloomist turkey that ever turkeyed. I can't wait to hear this song. This song is kind of giving Karma. It's kind of giving Mad Woman. I would be very happy if this was about Scooter Braun. I'm always here to destroy him. I'm always here to make fun of him. I'm always here to wish bad things for him. So if this is an incantation that will make him have a bad day, then I would like to be chanting and humming. The song that I've likened this to on my Vibe playlist is Tell Me Why. Tell Me Why, because Tell Me Why is about a stupid boy. It's about a stupid man who can't work up the courage to actually say how he feels or use his words, as some men don't want to do. We know that some turkeys also don't want to do that. It's about it's about someone that's not really a good communicator, someone that's a bit of a coward, which is exactly what The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived is about. And that's going to Holy Ground Sister too. Torture Poets Department, greatest album ever created, more likely than you think. The Alchemy, I think, is going to be about her capacity to transform, her ability to start over, Phoenix rising from the ashes. She might be tired of it, but she can do it. And the song that I have linked this to on my Vibes playlist is Midnight Rain, because I also think that Midnight Rain is about, and I analyze this more deeply in my Jover deep dive video that I just posted. I talk about how I think that she has this capacity and this deep intuition where she knows when she needs to make a change like that, and she just makes it. She doesn't hum and haw. When it comes to it, when it really gets down to decision time, there is no talking her off a ledge. And I think that that is a very special and rare thing that it happens for her. It doesn't happen all the time. I think she ignores her intuition a lot of the time just to see if she can force something to work, as she's wont to do in her career. So The Alchemy is interesting to me, but I don't love the title. So I'm going to put this in Great Gown. Clara Bow. I'm going to put that in, well, yes, I'm interested to hear it. It's going to be another historical song, so I think that the song that I've likened it to on my Vibes playlist is The Last Great American Dynasty. I think this is going to be very well written, but I don't think I'm going to want to listen to it that much. Do you see what I mean? Like, I'm going to appreciate it and respect the craft, but I don't know that I'm going to be that involved or that interested. The Alchemy, also interestingly, is not a very long song. That's 3 minutes and 16 seconds. That's shorter for this album, this mammoth. I might have to do a video debunking the Gaylor associations with Clara Bow, because I actually have done a lot of in-depth research into Clara Bow because I wanted to make sure that I could get the story right, and I have a really good rebuttal to that. So stay tuned. If they start acting out of pocket, I will be sure to put them in their place when and if they do, if they are not humiliated enough to show their faces in public, I will set the record straight. Up next, the bonus tracks. We don't have track times for these. These ones really are pure delusion alone. I cannot make heads or tails of these songs. The manuscript, I put Tolerate It. I'm going to put manuscript in, well, yes. The reason why I put Tolerate It is because, a manuscript is a draft of a book that is maybe unfinished. It is something that's unpublished, certainly, something that never made it to press. So I think that this could be about throwing something out that you've worked really hard on. Because sometimes you get a manuscript and you have to scrap it and start over, or you get revision and feedback that changes it completely. There's a lot of scope for the Tortured Poets theme and likeness to come around, and I think that it'll be an interesting song. I think maybe actually it might be the one I'm most excited for of them all. Yeah, I think it is. Up next is The Bolter. Great Gown. Again, I can't make heads or tails of these bonus songs. I have no idea what they're going to be about. The Bolter, I just had to put Getaway Car because that's what you do when you get in a getaway car. You are bolting away from something. Is she talking about herself as the bolter? Her inclination to run, which I would say isn't that strong. She only follows it from time to time. Or is she talking about someone else's inclination to bolt? Or is it about her bolting from a certain interlude, a certain hot girl summer moment that she had? Is it about that? It could be. I don't think that the bonus tracks are going to fit into the chronological story that's being told. And I do think it's chronological. Don't ask me why. Again, I told you this is the delusional vibe video. So it's a delusional vibe that I have. The Albatross is giving, this love is a weight around my neck that is dragging me down and actively making me unhappy, and I am powerless to it regardless. Even though I know it's not going to end well, even though I know it's not good for me, I simply cannot help but be absolutely distraught about this, and I'm kind of enjoying that a little bit. I likened it to Dancing with Our Hands Tied because I think that's exactly what it's about, and also it's a good Jover parallel. So I'm going to put this in, well, yes. I'll put it in, well, yes. Why not? The Black Dog. The Black Dog. Girl, I have no clue. Happy for you or sorry that happened. I ain't reading all that. I'm putting it in delete because I just can't think about it, okay? No, I can't put it in delete. I'm going to put it in Great Gown. I can't put anything in these lower categories. I don't know why I even tried. Are you surprised? Are you surprised, divas? My most positive ranking video? More likely. Then you know. My Midnight's ranking was, I want to say, pretty far off. I had Question last, and I had Midnight Rain at number 1, and that has continued to be one of my favorite songs, so I clocked that. But these are my divas. I think I'll arrange the Holy Ground Sister in order of my excitement for them as well, just, for posterity. I will also link the Spotify playlist that I created down below for your listening pleasure. If you're interested, I have a bunch of playlists on Spotify. I do this thing where I reorganize all of Taylor's track lists. I will end up doing that very shortly after Tortured Poets comes out, I'm sure. Or I'll live with it for a while, who knows? But anyway, back to my ranking. Number 1 song I'm most excited for. I keep coming back to Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. I'm really interested in that. And up next is But Daddy, I Love Him. See, the track times have changed it. They've changed everything a little bit. After But Daddy, I Love Him, I think I'm most interested in I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. And then weirdly, it's Down Bad. That's what I want to hear next. That's kind of what I want to hear next. Isn't that weird? The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived has to come after that. Yes. And then My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, So Long London, of course. I Can Fix Him, Fresh Out the Slammer, Tortured Poets, Florida, Guilty as Sin, Fortnite, Clara Bow. This all looks good to me. This looks like a correct ranking to me. What do you think? What's your favorite song? What song are you claiming from the Tortured Poets department? And do you agree with my preliminary ranking? If you're not, make sure to join the Patreon. Patreon.com/Swiftologist. I'm telling you, it's where you want to be. And if you want to have non-delusional conversations with people that aren't going to scream at you for making jokes about Joe Alwyn being the heirloom turkey, if you want to have fun, real, honest, analytical, smart, funny conversations without a bunch of scolds on the internet, you need to join our Discord, which you can get for as low as $3 a month. And it is worth it. The vibe is immaculate. Anyway, I will see you next week in Tortured Poets Week. I can't wait. Goodbye, Swifties.